Hello, y'all. This is Lion Farts here, and sorry if I still come across nervous. I'm not really used to making videos, so this is all new to me. And as y'all know, this is going to be unedited. I will edit this until I work on my documentary, so you're gonna have to put up with the raw version. And but yeah, thanks for watching. So as y'all know, my name is Rachel Moore in real life, okay? I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, and y'all don't know where that is. That's kind of like in between Baltimore and D.C., but right next to the Chesapeake Bay. I actually lived like a minute away from the Chesapeake Bay. It was a really cool place to grow up, a lot of wildlife and fishing, though I don't know anything about fishing. I'm willing to learn, but I've yet to learn it. And sailing, crabbing, rockfish everywhere, blue crabs, Old Bay, Natty Bow, you name it. My Hawaiian shirt, the orange one, that's actually Natty Bow, called National Bohemian. That's the beer that comes from Baltimore, and it's a guy with a little mustache. He's married to the Utz girl, and Utz Chips comes from Hanover, Pennsylvania. So when you come around Northern Virginia, and I think it dies around New York, there's Utz Chips everywhere. I recommend trying it. It's one of my favorite trips, and I love the cheese curls. Start off with some good news. I lost 4 inches to my waist, which is amazing. I don't know how much weight I lost. I can't wait to check, honestly. The Appalachian Trail has been insanely hard. It's been taking a lot of energy to keep focus and remind myself to never quit and why I'm doing this to begin with. Now, I see everybody flying by. They're like cruising all this mileage and stuff. And you gotta keep in mind, I'm a fat girl, so I can't do that. So I'm trying to keep it together up here. I'll be like, okay, I met all these fantastic people, at the shelter. I'll catch up to them when I catch up to them. Hopefully, hopefully I will get faster, and I'm hoping to lose 100 pounds at the end of this. And I lost 50 pounds beforehand, so it'd be 150 in total, which would be an insane accomplishment. I used to be really skinny before, and I had like amazing abs, and I just really miss being able to wear what I want, shop where I want, dress up cute, and see my cute little face not full of fat everywhere. That would be nice. So that's a small reason why I'm doing the Appalachian Trail, but it is obviously one of the reasons, is to lose weight. So when I was on the trail, I ran into this woman, and she was really cool. She started opening up to me about the fact that her husband has rapid cycling bipolar disorder, and it was interesting to me because I have bipolar type 1 disorder, if you guys didn't know that. And doing the Appalachian Trail while being bipolar, I don't find it difficult because I take my medicine every day. I've been stable for like 6 years now, but it was a challenge in a sense of I have to carry all my meds. Anybody knows anybody with bipolar disorder, it's a lot of meds and it's heavy, okay? But I had to take them. I mean, it's not like they can be mailed to me, so it's one of the major sacrifices here, and I had to talk to my psychiatrist every so often. And another thing is, I know sometimes I get like little spells of just wanting to be a bit angry, like an anger outburst, and I had to calm myself down and be like, you can't do that, okay? Everybody's high stress out here right now, especially in the beginning, and it's not just me with my own problems, and I need to find a healthy way of just coming back down to earth and breathing it out and being like, okay, you don't need to take it to 100 with your anger. You need to come back down to earth, address the problem, breathe, and then find a solution for the problem instead of getting angry like that. But I came to realize, and I think this is an important point here, I never really gave myself much credit for becoming stable, to be honest. When I first was diagnosed, I was 18 years old. I did a lot of bad stuff when I was 18, and a lot of dangerous stuff. I put myself in harm's way because of the disease. I mean, I picked up like two strangers and drove them to DC, and my mom's car got ruined with diesel and stuff. It was really, really bad. And you would think that would be the point where I'd be like, okay, time to take my meds. But it really wasn't. It was another thing that happened, which one day I'll gain up the guts during this trail to talk about, because I think it's important to discuss things like this, even though it's insanely embarrassing. And nonetheless, I got stable, and I'd take like a zillion different meds and get off a bunch of meds, and it was a long journey to recovery. And on top of that, I was actually in a very abusive relationship, and I will discuss further on that in the trail, you know, as I get more comfortable discussing these stories, because again, it's very important. But I felt like he was hindering me with my disorder. It was putting a lot of manipulation in the sense of like, you know, you don't need meds, meds are bad for you, you know, that kind of thing. He wanted to keep me down so I could never really gain the logic of being like, hey, this is actually a really toxic relationship and I should get out. And but eventually I did. And that was probably one of the most glorious moments of my life. And again, I'll talk further into that as I go further into the trail, but it was also one of the shining moments in my life where I began to realize that how strong I really am. And I try to remind myself that when I'm on the trail, like when things are getting hard or psychologically hard, or I'm just very close to giving up, I'm like, no, you survived something that almost nobody would have survived, you know, and I never gave myself credit for that. And I never gave myself enough credit for becoming stable in such a dark period of my life, you know, and no longer putting my burdens and this disease laid on my parents, and essentially be an asshole about it, because I knew what I was doing. I mean, let's be fair. I wasn't like going around like, oh, I'm bipolar, I don't know what's going on. No, I knew what was going on. I just was out of my mind in a sense. But I was perfectly okay abusing everybody around me and just being like, well, you know, I'm bipolar. That's what happens, you know. And no, that's a very toxic thing. Extremely toxic. And I cut that crap out back in like 2016. Actually, the end of 2015, but more officially in 2016. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And I just... I got better from there, and I got my life back. I got my family back. I gained friends eventually. I don't know, kind of like this guy, so I kind of had that going on too, but we shall see. He's going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail, so I'm excited for that. But, you know, again, like I said, I'll talk about this in further detail as I go along. I just want to open up some things with you guys so you kind of know a little bit more about my backstory. And I saw a few people have completed the Appalachian Trail being bipolar, so I hope to join that very small club, and I want to talk about it openly with people, you know. And one moment, that's my mom on the other side. Just because, look, there's so much rain out there. I'm sure y'all can hear it, but sit down. Okay. But yeah, this one of the things I never gave credit for. So someone asked me how I knew this guy was a racist. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know these people's private life. I don't know what they're really about. I only see them when I see them, and then they disappear out of my life. But what I can tell you is that they keep him and a couple war people I ran into in the trail would stare down my mom, and somebody would offer candy to everybody else but avoid my mom. And when I say stare, it's not like a calm looking stare. It's kind of like almost a bit like vile the way they stare. Like, you, a Spanish woman, how can you do this kind of thing? Like, how can you afford this? You're Latino, that kind of stare, you know? And maybe it's not true. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But it certainly feels that way. I mean, I think everybody has had a moment where people stare and it's very uncomfortable and it's very, and you could feel the hate radiating from that stare. If it's not true, then that's seriously so much better. Obviously, you know, I don't want people to be racist. It's not a good thing. But certainly that has been going on, in at least from our perception. And it's kind of uncomfortable, and I think it is something like racism needs to be discussed. They talked about some in the Appalachian Trail, especially with African Americans, but I think the problem extends further than African Americans. I think Hispanics are going through the same struggles. I'm half Hispanic. Asians are going through their struggles too. I will go even to say this isn't a race thing, but, you know, gay people and stuff are going through their own struggles. I mean, it's something that does need to be addressed and talked about, and I really hope that gets tackled down. Now, like I said, I'll never know if these people were actually racist or not, but just felt that way, you know, just bad vibes coming across. So I wrote like a little list to remind me what to talk about. I had dreams about my family. Now, I'm going to kind of keep this brief, and again, I'll talk about it more as I go along, but my mom's family there's something else. And I feel like I could talk about it a little more publicly because I have full intentions that when I come off this trail, I don't want to see them ever again. Except obviously the ones I really, really love. And you guys know who you are, okay? But the other ones is like, they were nothing but abusive, and they kept hindering us. It was very passive-aggressive growing up, and I was always the little shit. We were like the little shit family, and this other family was like the beautiful, wonderful, glorious family that we all had to live up to and be like. And no matter what we did, we could be freaking famous. I could be like Lady Gaga, and I'm still a little shit in this family. There'll always be that abusive, full of criticism kind of family. Nothing happy to say. I got nieces and nephews I don't know their gender. That's how bad it is. And one of the baby showers I wasn't even invited to. And if y'all are watching this, then, you know, fuck you for that. I'll say point blank. Because what the hell, we're a family. But, you know, I don't know any of my nieces and nephews except for Layla and Haley. And it came from my beloved cousin that we're like twins. We're both crazy. And she died from COVID-19. And last summer, actually. And it's definitely something that was really, really hard to address at the time period. And it was one of the things that made me decide to get back on the trail, even though I won't get recognition, because life is too short. She was 24 years old, and she had 2 baby girls. I love those girls to death, and I can't wait to see them. But just one day COVID up and killed her, you know? It's just very tragic, you know? But it's what happened. But she was one of the coolest cousins I ever had. Well, she's my niece, but we're the same age, so I call her cousin. Her mother's actually my cousin, and she's also one of my coolest cousins. I love her so much. But yeah, like I said, my intentions is never see that side of the family again. If you are gonna be nothing but full criticism and hinder me and hinder my mom and everything, I don't want to be a part of you guys' life. I mean, I'm tired. We're tired. We're tired of working to get their love, you know? Fuck him. You know, like, if I'm never going to have it, why the fuck am I working so hard to go get it? When I could clearly get it from a bunch of other people, and I've been getting it on the trail. And there's this one guy, he literally went up and down the campsites to find my mom and I. He's like yelling like, "Oh, babe, I'm farts." And he eventually found us, and we're like, whoa, this guy really, really cares, you know? And that's what family is in my mind. Or how Thumper remembered me, and then we talked some, and I was telling him about how my mom's been having some pains, and he helped us out in that department. Or, you know, there's some people out here on the trail, or even through hikers in the past that I've talked to and I've become very close to, and I feel like they're my family, you know. And like how Matt Shriver and his wife, they want to come at some point to meet me on the trail, and he came to my interviews, and he's full of nothing but love. And believe me, he loves his wife. That's how you treat your wife. If you know that story, yeah, that's how you treat your wife. That's a great man right there. But that's family to me. And I'm sure I'm going to find one gigantic family on the Appalachian Trail, and it's not going to be abusive, and it's not going to be dysfunctional. And from here on out, I always consider them my family, not this other family. And let's see, another point here is, yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty much done with this list, but just talk a little bit more here, I guess. I feel like something great's happening. I had another dream that a person in the Harper's Ferry area, like by that bridge, told me that my blessings are here, and it gave me a black rock with some like purple shimmers on it, and said, if these blessings are too much to manage, don't worry, the Lord will help you. And so I think that's what's happening on this trail. You know, I had a lot of reflection time. I had time on here where I come to realize there's some people I really want to cut out of my life when I come back from the trail. And there's some areas myself that I want to address. Like I noticed on the trail, I'm very negative, you know, and I noticed that I'm like full of complaints. And I'm like, ew. You know, I guess when you're out in the real world, there's so much stimuli and stuff going on that you don't really notice these things. But when you're out there in the trail, everything is stripped. And I came to realize, I'm like, this is toxic, you know? And, I mean, you know, I feel like I rub that off sometimes on my friends, and I rubbed it off on people I like. I mean, you know, there's a guy that I like, and, you know, I felt at one point that was very toxic towards him, and, you know, I talked about it with him and got better and came to address it. But, you know, it's something that I think will take work on the trail, of course, but I guess the first part is always addressing it. And I'm just like, whoa, I didn't realize how negative and complaining I am, and how sometimes I can be actually abusive if I want to be. And how toxic my bipolar anger, you know, burst can be. You know, it just something I really need to address upon. And, you know, it's just, there's nothing but time, and it's quiet out there, and the mountain's kicking your ass nonstop, that you start to notice these things. And I started to notice I'm not really my own like biggest cheerleader, you know, and why? There's only one of me out there. I better start, you know, cheering myself on. But I noticed I had never really done that, except out here on the trail when I'm forced to. And I definitely want to change that about myself when I come off the trail. And I noticed that there's some areas of me that's never quite grateful enough, or it's never good enough. And that's another area that needs to change in my life. You know, this is, again, it's toxic, and nobody needs that. I think those are like the major areas I want to work upon, but there's a lot of like excitement. I'm ready for the blessings, you know, bring it on. I'm ready to be back there on the trail. I'm just not going to get back there until Friday morning because there's a wicked storm coming. I heard it's going to be like hail, tornadoes, high winds, rain, you name it. And honestly, I'd rather be in a concrete building if a tornado's coming versus a tent. I mean, I didn't grow up in Tornado Alley. There's almost no tornadoes that has happened in Maryland, though it has happened. But I don't think I ever was alive for one. And again, it's just, I don't want to be out there in that, to be completely honest, but we're going to hopefully go another 30 miles, you know, and then stay at a hostel over there for one night. But, you know, we're building momentum, and honestly, I see all these fat people out there in the trail, or people that are out of shape just like me, and obviously the ones that are in shape, or you got this going on, seriously, kick ass, you guys are doing great. But the ones that are struggling like myself, seriously, more power to you. And honestly, I don't say it in person when I see you guys out on the trail, but you guys are inspiring me, really. I look at you guys and I'm like, yo, if that person can get up in the morning and go set sails in the trail, and or you're working with the same weight as me, if not more, and you're going up those mountains and down those mountains as slow as can be, huffing and puffing, but hey, you're doing it. That shit inspires me straight up, you know. Seriously, keep it up. Don't give up. You know, you're doing more than just going over that mountain. You're inspiring people. You're inspiring myself. And more power to you. And, but yeah, I don't know, I like these journals, so it's helping me out. Helping me to organize my thoughts. There was a ridge runner that sorry, there's an email that was important to read. But there was a ridge runner. She said that it's important to journal as much as possible, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to journal more often. I'm trying to talk my feelings out with you guys, or update you guys about my trail journey, or any of that stuff. And of course, there'll be a documentary coming later on, but it's kind of nice to just give you guys little bits and have you guys get to know my story while I'm out there hiking, you know. And seriously, if you guys run into me, you know what I look like via Instagram or Facebook. It's not like I'm shy about my colors and stuff. And talk to me, you know, and you know, I'm all ears for new stories, why you're doing the Appalachian Trail, any of that stuff. Like, I'm down. I'm down to listen to it all, you know. These stories that I hear is just so fascinating, and it all inspires me, honestly, you know. But thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'm less nervous than last time. And yeah, so I'll update you when I come around again. Yep. Bye.